Alright, so the dojo explodes and we can make our way back down to the earth and get to the countryside.
Nothing like walking the streets of Earth.
Yeah, guess that's true. Oh, so one more spaceman here. And some robots too, for good measure. Headbutt butthead. Isn't that clever? This is also actually a pretty good theme. Oh, yeah, here we go with the Serious Shinobi Shun. This enemy is one of the worst in the game. I wouldn't say it is the worst, but they're super fast. They move around a lot, and you also can't really attack them while they're on the ground. They'll do that kind of attack while they're getting up, and it's actually very easy to get caught by that. So they also don't give you a lot of chances to gleam. They do have kind of a regular attack, but that combo cannot be ducked. So you just have to get out of the way of it. Otherwise, you spend a lot of time just attacking them regularly and just doing the power attacks to get as much as you can. That's their regular attack that you can actually... Oh, accidentally paused there for a second. You can actually get gleam off of that single strike. But, you know, it's pretty quick also, so you just really have to pay attention. Moving around too much. That initial attack, that when they do the, you know, the symbols kind of come up, they're opening, that can actually be gleamed as well, so sometimes you can get an early advantage on them. The good news is they're pretty easy to stun. Usually a few punches will have them stunned there. You can also see I asked her to high-five me. You can do that with the right stick. It's really just a co-op thing. If you've got another person playing with you, you can give a high five and have various effects happen, but when you're in single player, I like to just kind of use it as a taunt. And of course, the full health recovery after the new enemy. They're not really, you know, too mean about it. I also picked up the boomerang here, the first time we've seen that. The boomerang is actually really strong if you get somebody in the right position. It doesn't work super well against these guys because they can just jump out of the way a lot of the time. But if you get someone standing like right at the end of its path, you can deal quite a lot of damage to them because it'll hit them multiple times. I've also got this little sickle here, which I'm not a super big fan of. You know, it does a fair amount of damage, but it doesn't quite stun them very much.
Not dead yet? Make them dead! Use the Killicopter!
So here comes the Killicopter. You can never actually attack the Killicopter directly. You just kind of have to, you know, deal with what it shoots out at you when it shows up. So we've got a new type of Williams here. These guys actually have a lot more health than the standard kind. They don't really have any different attacks, but they will stay around for a lot longer. But of course, as usual, getting a gleam and then using a special attack, it still takes them out pretty quickly. Killicopter will also do a few different things throughout the battle. This one's pretty easy to avoid unless you're standing underneath it when it starts. You know, then it's kind of hard to get out of the way. But otherwise, you can tend to use it to your advantage quite a lot by throwing dudes into it. Yeah, this is also the point where they'll start doing two-hit combos.
Fire the penetrator missiles!
And we've also got to avoid the missiles here. It's pretty self-explanatory, just get out of the way. But yeah, the Williamses, normally they count out their shots. They can go 1, 2. They also have 1.5, and they can also do a 1, 2.5. So you kind of have to make sure you dodge them multiple times to make sure they're done with their combos. So more Williamses. If we can get a gleam here and just stand in the middle of them, that would be ideal. They're kind of splitting up. There we go, we got a few. Oh man, that homing missile got me. Now see there, I had to make sure to dodge twice, otherwise he would have hit me with that half. Just walking into the missiles. They're not super smart. The AI doesn't really make any effort to get out of the way of obstacles. They will just walk right into them.
Your incompetence baffles me! Retreat!
So the Killicopter's done, and then we get to move on. This lady right here, you can just ignore. Just go down the ladder. It's not required, and I wouldn't advise fighting her. The shop is back over here to the left. So we're just going to go ahead. I basically just stocked up on lives, and then we'll continue. There's not a lot else I need to be buying, so I usually, if I see a shop, just go up to 9 lives, so I'm sure we're going to succeed. So I've got these planks here we can use. If we stand on the red X, it will cause the other end to shoot up. And yeah, there's an example of the boomerang doing some work there. So of course, if we get them standing on the other end of the plank, it'll shoot them off into the distance. It also actually does a pretty fair amount of damage. So these can be useful to use. And it's also mentioned the enemies can't set them off, so those are actually placed there just entirely for your advantage. So there we go, we got that Williams with one. Oh, there's a cartwheeling through me here.
Thank you very much.
Oh man, it looks like he's on it, but I guess he's just a little bit below it. Oh, didn't want that. I wanted the barrel. Throw it at this lady. And they also drop kunai that you can, it's a throwing weapon. You can't stab with it, but you can throw it. And there's a fair amount of damage. And here we go. I love situations like this where you can just knock guys back and forth. That guy's already down, but I'm still having fun with him. Yeah, and these Ichisumis here you can basically just ignore for the most part. They spend a lot of the time on a different part of the screen. So you can just stay down here and fight the guys that come up and then take care of them when the time's right. Oop. Yeah, they also interact kind of strangely with the planks because they can't be taken off the ground, so they just kind of get hit and stand there. It's a little weird. Oh man, and a Bobo kind of freaked me out a bit there. Fortunately, couldn't keep that up on the Shinobi there. Let's see if we can get a Bobo over here. Oh man. Yeah, they don't do too much damage. They're actually fairly weak in terms of attacks, but they can hit you a lot is the thing. So they can also be really distracting when they're with other people. I hate that little standing up attack too. Man, I didn't hit her with any of that. Alright, looks like we've reached the end of this level. Let's see if we can get it this time. I usually do fine with it. I guess my timing's just been a little bit off. There we go. So if you hit it enough times, it'll just explode, and that'll give you the maximum reward for it. Alright, level 6 Assault Zone. Very similar to the 5th one. It's the same kind of setting, but, you know, just more and a little bit tougher. This one's also got some pretty good music.
I wonder what's down
And these arrows, of course, just gotta watch for when they fire in the background and then run across when it's clear. This throwing star will pretty much kill anything it hits instantly, so you know it's good to just take one guy out before you have to fight. And these guys you actually don't really have to worry about, because they'll just fall off the edge here. So just make sure to stay on top. You can also see I picked up this little ball-looking thing. It doesn't look like much, but this is actually super strong. It's one of the most damaging weapons in the game. We'll try to get it on some of these Williamses here. It does a lot of damage. Doesn't look like much. But they only end up needing a few hits afterward to be taken out, so It'll be showcased a little bit better later. This is kind of a big open area. This is also one of the cases where there's a pit on the edge of the screen, so it actually makes it a lot easier to take them out if you can stun them and then throw them with the grab button. Get out of the way of the missiles there. Unfortunately, I'm kind of stuck on the wrong side, so I can't throw guys down the pit.
I don't think so.
So we kind of lure them over here a little bit and just punch them enough, or use the spin kick, or stun them. Of course, not as much. I'm just knocking them all down. There we go. We can just throw this guy over. So that's a pretty easy way, especially if you can stun the Shinobi, which is pretty easy to do, just a few punches. Then you can just get rid of her instantly. So it's definitely helpful. Just gotta wait for the helicopter to finish its little missile spree here.
Fire the penetrator missiles!
Now that one's a bit weird. Like sometimes the missiles can go into a different lane, you know, because they kind of just go up and down the field. Sometimes they can actually switch to a previous one and just randomly hit you, even though you shouldn't be hit by it. But it's of course pretty easy. Just stay between the purple targets. Not too hard.
Child.
See if we can get the boomerang. There we go. That was some good damage.
What do you mean you're out of missiles? Find them! Kill them with the blades!
So this is also a pretty great part. The helicopter is flying in upside down, trying to hit us with the blades. The blades also do a lot of damage. They're easy to avoid and also easy to throw the enemies into. So really, this kind of helps you out more than anything. Let's see if we can high-five the helicopter. No, I guess not. Yeah, so unfortunately, these sections can be a bit long. I think we've got one more combat section to do here. Take out the geisha there pretty quickly. So we can stun the Shinobi and throw her off. There we go. Perfect. So if you use the pits to your advantage, you can take things out pretty quickly and save yourself a lot of hassle. See if we can get some health recovery here. And there might be some in this. Nope, okay, guess not. Oh, we shouldn't have any trouble against this Williams, so. Just knock him in the pit. Yeah, awesome. I think we killed him health-wise, too. So full health recovery, we're good to go. Make sure to wait for the arrows, grab the explosive barrel, and since you're just standing there, might as well. And of course, yes, enemies can be hit by the arrows as well. It's a good consistent thing in this game that basically anything that can hurt you can hurt them too. This is where the little spiky ball thing is going to shine. It's going to take out these Williams in one shot, and it kind of bounces around the screen a lot. You can see just how quickly dudes are going down here. Also, I thought we might get some damage on a Bobo. Nah, it disappeared. Out of the way of the arrows. Yeah, if you try to roll through the Abobos, you use your dodge roll, they'll oftentimes kick you out of it. So you gotta be a little bit careful there. Got a nice combo with the arrows there, punched them back into it multiple times. Nice. Alright, so we got a little bit of a secret here. If we stand between these two gravestones and duck a bunch.
I'm alive again.
High five? Oh, guess not. I guess you don't have any hands, so that might be hard. So yeah, this guy is called Fuzzface, and I don't know what he is. He'll occasionally drop health items. I usually end up losing him here, I guess because I run too quickly. But he'll hang around for a bit and make random noises, so it's probably, I'm glad that he does disappear eventually. I think I just outrun him, like, in the transition to the boss, because I've seen him, like, people have him in later levels, so I don't know, I guess I just lose him. I don't really care, because I don't like him, so we'll just show him for the video, and then we'll lose him, and then never have to think about it again. Yeah, so this is kind of a tricky screen. You have to stand underneath these things to get shelter from the arrows. The little spiky ball thing can help out a lot. But the Shinobis do a pretty good job of knocking you out of your safe spots. So you just gotta hope you don't get hit by the arrows. But of course you can use the arrows to your advantage as well. The enemies don't do a great job of getting out of the way. And neither does Fuzzface, actually. Alright, so we can continue forward here, or we can go back a bit to sort of take the upper path, which, of course, you want to take the upper path. So we're going to have to do a little bit of platforming, do some jumps across, then do this long jump and do the axe kick with the kick button. That'll keep you in the air just long enough to make it to this next platform. And then we can keep jumping our way across, do another kick. Make sure to wait for the arrows. And here we go. And if we can get up here, we can get a whole bunch of bonuses, including 2 extra lives, which is actually quite helpful.
Behold, Lee Brothers, my least invincible creation, this giant tank.
Of course, the lives would be helpful if this wasn't also one of the easiest bosses in the game. So basically, you can go and destroy each of the parts if you want. You can see I'm not even worried about dodging anything. I'm just attacking because it doesn't do a whole lot of damage, and I've got 3 lives, so who really cares? So we can just destroy this kind of piece by piece. We'll take out these little exhaust vents here, or whatever they're supposed to be, as well as an initial missile launcher there on the back. They actually shoot out these little tiny fragments that are just about impossible to see. They don't do a whole lot of damage, but they can interrupt you kind of randomly, and it feels really strange. So we destroy the big cannon. Now we've got to take out these 2 kind of bomb launchers at the top. And at this point, the tank is basically defenseless. We just jump behind it and throw the explosive barrel at its weak point. And basically at this point, it's wash, rinse, repeat, except all its defenses have already been taken down, so now all I've got to worry about is the kilocopter shooting missiles at us, which is pretty simple to avoid, or if you don't want to avoid it, it doesn't really matter because they don't do a whole lot of damage. And they bring a bunch of Williamses out, but I don't know why you would ever fight them. Just run past them, they can't do anything. Grab the next barrel, and hit it again. Now, it does get a little more complicated here if you do want to try to dodge everything, because it's going to be shooting missiles out of these little compartments here. So, you know, you can take your time and try to work your way through, or you can just be like me and not really care and just kind of run because they don't do any damage, really. And you've probably got enough lives to handle it anyway. Tons of mithril. You can see I've already got a lot. It only takes like 3 to upgrade it the first time. Even the maximum upgrade to get up to 50 tapes is like 12. So by the time you're at double dragon difficulty, they're just throwing mithril at you.
You are all as useless as you are dead.
Finally, we get to see that kilocopter meet its demise.
Wait, now's your chance to capture him. Take him to the lab. I'll make him a new brother.
Uh-oh, looks like we got left in a bit of trouble there. So now we move on to stage 7.
Oh, man. More like science unfair.
Oh man, that was bad. So of course, got to break our way out.
What is this? Some kind of lab?
Yes, in fact, it is Mission 7, some kind of lab. So now we're in the lab section. Things are going to get a bit more difficult here. When I played through this the first time, this is really the first spot I started having trouble, mostly because of this lady. This is Roxy, the aerodynamic ace, and as you can tell, they're kind of a pain. Anything that's primarily aerial in a ground-based game, where you can't really get off the ground that well, that's a bit of a nuisance. Thankfully, they don't have a whole lot of hit points, and health, whatever you want to call it. And if you can get them with a weapon, you can pretty much keep them down. So, just want to avoid the red flame from that potion that lady threw. It's pretty simple. You get a ground attack there. And different types of Williamses. These guys, again, can do the multiple combos. They also got a fair amount of health, and they can use a weapon that no other enemy can. We're probably not going to see it for a little while, but you'll definitely notice it when it happens. So yeah, at this point I tend to just kind of take out the ground guys while keeping Roxy kind of on the side of my vision, just to make sure I'm not lined up with her too much so she can't get too many free attacks. Oftentimes she'll get hit by the flying knees, I do anyway, so there we go. You can dodge that attack, it's a bit tricky. That was bad timing, so too bad. Otherwise, I find the axe kicks to be the best thing to hit them while they're in the air. And if you can space it out right, you can also use the spinning kick thing, that special attack, in midair. So that can be helpful as well. So we got a full health recovery here. Let's pick that up before we die. Oh man, that was good timing actually. So she dropped a grenade we could have thrown, but the other one picked it up, so too bad. I think those guys are done. Let's move on. Yeah, and you can kick those little cameras. They can be tough to see. This green potion we can pick up and throw, and it does a pretty good amount of damage. To maximize its effects, you want to stand next to it, so the enemies will just walk into it and stand there. There we go. A few more knees. Nice. That feels really good, you know? The punches feel nice and heavy. The screen shakes when you do the finishers. You know, it all feels really good, which is another one of the good parts about this game. And of course, the whole gleaming mechanic does add a bit more depth to it than kind of the traditional, you know, the original Double Dragon, at least on the NES, was basically you spammed the punch or kick until you got the back elbow move, and then you just spammed the back elbow on everyone. So, you know, if it was just a straight-up remake of the original, it would actually be a bit more boring, I think, than it ends up being. There's a lot more depth and strategy needed. So get a full health refill. I haven't lost a life yet, which is actually really good for this level.
It's high time we see if our little project will... Okay, we can now right there. Anyway, face your doom.
So of course you saw the strategy for dodging those flying knives. You can just do a roll and then a jump. You can also do the jump kicks, like the diving kick. You can use that to destroy them and move forward at the same time. So a couple different ways to deal with them. This is always fun. Hitting them with the baseball bat up against the wall, just kind of bouncing off. So we got a silhouette fight here. These can be a bit tricky, especially because those traps can be kind of tough to see. So you want to make sure you're not in the way of those. And you know, if you get right next to an enemy, it can be kind of hard to tell what they're doing when you're both just a silhouette. But it does look pretty cool. I'll give it that much. Yeah, see, I could not see those punches coming at all there. But yeah, the spin kick works really well here because they tend to group up a lot, so, you know, go crazy with it. Alright, time to finally move on to the next section. And if that guy will wait just a bit, we can pick up the one up. Oh, dude, that's not cool, leading with the jump kick there. Alright, and you may notice the big hulking monstrosities in the background there. Guess we'll get to those in a minute, because we got some more grunts to fight. There we go. It's always good to get that power shot in on Roxy. If you get a gleam with the weapon attack, you can usually take her out in one shot. So that can be pretty nice. And otherwise, they can be a nuisance just like that. And a lot of the times, if you try to jump up and kick them, they will attack instead and hit you instead of you hitting them. And then they just do the hit and run stuff. It's really annoying, actually. They are probably my least favorite enemy. And anytime you can get them in a spin kick, that's always helpful. And that attack cannot be dodged in terms of ducking it and getting a gleam. You just gotta walk out of the way. Or you can actually jump over it as well. Alright, so now these guys are gonna break out. These are Bimmy and Jammy, mistranslated mutants. I love the enemy descriptions. So these guys you can treat basically like a Bobos. The only difference is they do have a really fast flying knee. So, you know, you just kind of watch out for that. There we go, we can dodge it like that. Otherwise, you treat them the same, and they also have great voices, which I like a whole lot. They're just so much fun to fight because of the way they sound. So yeah, they go down. They're basically just slightly more dangerous than Bobo. It's really not that bad. And that'll finish off the level with plenty of lives to spare.